On September 3rd, 2019, she sent the man a few pictures of her dog, well, licking her. She told him, and I'm going to try to lighten the language a bit here, he did good, up until he started biting my lip.
Hello, YouTube. In today's video, we're watching bestiality be committed. No, okay, that's misleading. We're not watching anything like that. Don't worry. But we are learning about a disgusting woman today that did commit that. The title of today's case is She Banged the Family Dog and Killed Her Kids with the Leash of that dog. I'm gonna repeat this for the people in the back. This woman did inappropriate, nasty things with the dog. And then with that same dog's leash, she killed her children. Just look at the thumbnail. White women, what is going on? On a more serious note, rest in peace to these two beautiful children. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. I'm stuttering over myself. There's not much to say because of just how abhorrent, how repulsive this case is straight off the bat, and we haven't even started the video yet. This just goes to show every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. It's a very popular saying, and almost every stream it gets proven more and more valid. With that being said, let's just get into this case. Let's go.
When a woman grew tired of being a single mom, she used her mental illness to have the kids removed from her custody multiple times. When they kept coming back to her, though, she decided that she would need to come up with a plan to get rid of them entirely. She got the idea for how to do this from her dog.
She got the idea from her dog? Oh, dude, don't tell me. I mean, she looks crazy. I mean, just look at this picture of her. Do you think that she had like this weird fantasy relationship with this dog where the dog would speak to her and she would understand it? Do you think the relationship was real to her? I think that's going to be what we're going to get into this video. I think this woman is crazy and then she thought she could understand the dog.
She got the idea for how to do this from her dog, who she was having inappropriate relations with.
Is she gonna blame the dog? Oh my god, dude. If she actually tries that, I'm gonna get so pissed. Like, I'm actually gonna get rage baited so hard this video.
We've covered a lot of bad or even straight up evil parents on this channel in the past, and to me this case is up there with the worst of the worst. Not only does this mother do something truly horrible to her kids, but she sets out on a mission to sully their name afterwards. It doesn't even stop there. She was also, let's say for the sake of YouTube, having relations with the family dog. Given that that's all very confusing, let's start back at the beginning.
What does he mean solely their names? Is she gonna go and like try to smear the children? Like somehow try and blame the kids for their own death?
Lisa Snyder was a single mom living in the Albany Township, about 60 miles northwest of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. Lisa had 3 kids, a 17-year-old named Owen, an 8-year-old boy named Connor, and a 4-year-old little girl named Brinley.
Owen, Connor, and Brinley. Okay, so rest in peace to them.
Living together along with the family dog, it seemed to anyone on the outside that they were a relatively normal family. What few people knew is that Lisa had grown really tired of being a mother. While she always claimed to have depression, it isn't really known whether or not this was true or if she had been diagnosed.
Don't you guys just hate that side effect of depression, like how it makes you your dog? We need to accept her apology, guys. We need to understand where she's coming from, guys. Come on. I hate when depression does that.
It had seemed that she only ever brought it up when she wanted some time away from the kids, or on some occasions if she wanted to get rid of them entirely. It has been reported that all of Lisa's kids have been removed from her care in July of 2014. While it isn't known why exactly they were taken away from her at the time, it can be inferred from later events that she likely made some claims about her own mental health. About a year later, the kids were returned to her. Given that their father wasn't in the picture, there weren't many other options beyond foster care. The CPS continued to be involved in their lives for about half a year before life returned, more or less, to normal. Lisa was now unemployed, and unemployed she would remain.
What a fucking surprise. What a surprise that she was an unemployed bum.
Taking care of 3 kids gradually began to annoy her. One of her sons, Connor, had some special needs as well. He was receiving occupational therapy for a few different reasons. For one, he had below-average motor planning skills. He also had poor hand-eye coordination and poor dexterity, along with problems with perceptual vision. Due to Lisa's habit of only buying junk for the kids to eat, he also weighed 151 pounds at only 8 years old.
Damn, at only 8 years old? I mean, yeah, if he was only 8 years old, that's really no fault of the kid. The kid's gonna eat what you put in front of him, you know? At 8 years old, that's 1000% the fault of the parent. Yeah. Just buying a bunch of shitty food for them to eat. Yeah, that's why he was overweight. I think that's obese. Yeah, that's obese for that age.
151 pounds at only 8 years old. After a few years back with her kids, Lisa began to complain that she was struggling with a severe case of depression and even had thoughts of ending her own life. After that, her kids were once again taken out of her custody in 2019. However, this time they wouldn't be gone all that long, only roughly half a year. A local 27-year-old woman named Megan had known Lisa for the last 15 years, although she wouldn't really call her a close friend. Her brother had dated Lisa on and off several years back. At that time, Megan said that Lisa was a positive influence on her brother's life. She had always encouraged him to stay sober and helped to find him whenever it seemed he was in trouble. At one point in the past, Lisa did confide in Megan, saying that she had been dealing with depression and anxiety, noting that she was taking Xanax. She plainly told Megan that she hated being home all the time and hated being a single mom. She said that she had trouble getting out of bed and no longer cared about her children at all.
So Megan, just to clarify, was Megan her friend? Oh, Megan's brother used to date Lisa, the monster. Okay, so Megan's brother used to date her. Okay, gotcha.
At some point, she said that she had trouble getting out of bed and no longer cared about her children at all. At some point in 2019, Lisa started dating another man. Or at the least, she was sexting with a man regularly. It was while talking to this man that she confessed to something truly disturbing, that she was having sexual relations with the family dog,
Bro, I mean, poor dog. I mean, what else can I say?
A pit bull husky mix named Boomer. This wasn't mere roleplay either. She backed it up with pictures. She would...
Oh, that wasn't enough for her. It's like she was bragging about it or something. So she confessed with words only, like, hey, by the way, I'm having my dog bang me, right? Oh, you don't believe me? Oh, no. I believe you. Oh, you don't believe me? Here's pictures. And she just like sent pictures. Did she think that was gonna turn the guy on or something? Like, what a disgusting freak.
This wasn't mere roleplay either. She backed it up with pictures. She would text this man, who she called Daddy, in the early hours of the morning about what she was doing. On September 3rd, 2019, she sent the man a few pictures of her dog, well, licking her. She told him, and I'm going to try to lighten the language a bit here, "He's eating my crotch, Daddy. He keeps moving every time the flash goes off. He did good, up until he started biting my lip."
Miku, cover your ears. Dude, somebody just cut my ears off.
And that's not a mistake on my part. She actually did say Libya. She would also speak briefly of having issues with her kids. While she didn't say what those problems were, she wrote, "Sorry, kid problems. Major kid problems." Lisa started formulating a plan to get rid of her kids. This time she wasn't going to use the Child Protective Services to do so. She wanted to get rid of them permanently, at least the two youngest kids who were the hardest to take care of. She had what she thought was the perfect plan to get rid of them without anyone suspecting her, to make it look like the 8-year-old boy had ended his own life and the life of his sister. While an 8-year-old ending their life isn't unheard of, it is incredibly rare. Adding a murder before the act makes for an exceedingly rare case. Still though, Lisa thought this plan would be for the best and began to start laying the groundwork. She felt that, to really sell the story, she would need to make it clear to those around her that Connor was dealing with a very rough patch in his life. She texted Megan on the 16th, saying that he had been bullied at school and expressed thoughts of ending it all.
What a evil bitch. So it's premeditated. There's no way to defend against that. She is formulating a plan. There's planning involved, trying to make the entire world around them think that the 8-year-old boy is becoming suicidal. And then also, just back to the point of her simply not wanting to be responsible for them anymore. She could have easily just turned them into CPS. Like, just go to CPS and say, like, hey, like, I'm gonna do something bad to these children, take them away from me, and then that's it. You don't have to kill them. It's just like so pointless. Let's not get this twisted. Dire Trip is already making it super clear that she's lying about having depression and having all these mental problems that is making her not want to take care of the kids. No, she just wants to enjoy her life, where she's essaying a dog repeatedly and she doesn't want to have responsibility, aka taking care of kids. She doesn't want to do that. That's it. It's
To
fucking
Megan,
disgusting.
this was all very strange. She had actually just picked up Connor that day, just hours before getting that text. She said that when she arrived at the school, he was sitting with a group of friends, talking and even laughing. He entered into the car with a big smile and went home just like any other day. He never even mentioned or even implied to Megan that something was wrong, and an 8-year-old wouldn't exactly be that good at putting on a mask and hiding those things. Knowing all of that, Megan found Lisa's story very hard to believe. Lisa began to text Daddy about these issues as well. One day later on the 17th, she texted him, "Things are bad. Bullying issues and tells me he wants to die. He's 8. Lost 25 pounds in the first 3 weeks of school. Breaks my heart. I just want to cry." However, only 3 hours later, her mood had drastically changed as she grew horny, texting him, "Oh Daddy, just took some good pics for you." That same day, Lisa made one of the most common mistakes prevalent among recent criminals. She took to Google in order to search for methods on how to kill someone.
I'm sorry, I'm replying to people in chat that are saying it's not that rare. I just Googled it right now. Suicide in children under 10 years old is tragic but rare. According to national data, there are typically between 20 to 30 documented deaths by suicide each year in the United States among children in the 6 to 9 years old range. So, no, yeah, I mean, only 20 to 30 a year in the entire, like, 300 plus million population. It is really rare.
She took to Google in order to search for methods on how to kill someone. More than that, she was searching for methods that people commonly use to end it themselves. It seems that her first idea was to use a car to do the job. Her first search was, "Carbon monoxide in a car, how long to die?" It seems that Lisa had no idea that a child wouldn't have any idea how to go through with that method, and that's on the very off chance that they had even heard about something like that at all. Even while mulling around something like this in her mind, Lisa couldn't stick to one method of depravity. She continued to pork the family dog throughout this time.
Wait, what word did he just use?
She continued to pork the family dog throughout this time.
Pork? I've never heard that saying before. To do things to a dog, or like just to do things to anything. She continued to pork the family dog. What an interesting choice of words, Dire Trip.
She continued to pork the family dog throughout this time. The next day, she was texting Daddy once again, this time sending him a nude photo of herself in full BDSM getup, followed by another picture of the dog licking her. Then she sent one more picture where she was holding the dog's male appendage in her hand. She texted him. He actually went for it all on his own this time. Was lashing in my bed in my underwear and he started licking, so I went with it. A few days after that, trying to find out how to be a better criminal, Lisa started researching what not to do. She started watching a lot of episodes of a TV show called I Almost Got Away with It, searching up what the best episodes of the series were. This was a documentary series on investigation discovery about criminals who, well, almost got away with their crimes before being caught. On September 22nd, Lisa had changed her mind about the method that she would use to murder her children. Now she was more interested in the idea of hanging. She started researching how people usually went through with that and what did and didn't make those attempts successful. Still unsure, though, she continued to research carbon monoxide, Googling whether or not hybrid cars produce it. It seems that, by the end of searching that day, she settled on hanging. She went ahead and bought a dog leash online and had it delivered to a Walmart nearby. Lisa knew that her kids were scared of the basement in their house, so she ordered the 2 younger kids to go play down there. It isn't known exactly why she did this, but she could have been trying to make them more comfortable being there. In her mind, she had decided that this would be the place where she would kill them. The next day at 9:30 in the morning, Lisa made her way out to Walmart and picked up the leash. She took it back home and began to set out on her plan. Lisa lured Connor and Brinley down into the basement. It's there that she went through with her plan and killed the both of them. It's still completely unclear how exactly she went through with it. It's possible that she tricked the kids into hanging themselves somehow, or she just hung them up herself.
1000% she did it herself. Because once again, these are super young kids, man. They're not going to do something like that. They physically just can't. I 1000% believe she did it herself. Like, she forced them into the hanging.
What is known is that Lisa called 911 at 4:30 in the afternoon, telling the police how she had found the 2 hanging in the basement. She told the police that Connor had been being bullied at school and that he had most likely been the aggressor, forcing his sister to hang herself as well.
Dude, nah, like it just keeps getting more disgusting. So it's like, it's not even just that she's like making it out to be a suicide, which is false, right? She is now throwing one of the kids under the bus, blaming him on murdering the younger child, the sister, the daughter. Throw this bitch in jail, bro, for life.
It was about 10 minutes before the police and ambulances were arriving on scene. There they saw the horror for themselves. Seeing the kids hanging from a wooden beam in the basement with kitchen chairs knocked over at their feet, the police described it like this. The victims were observed hanging 3 feet apart from a single wired cable dog lead with vinyl coating and ends connecting swivel-eye snap hooks. The wire was wrapped around the main support beam of the basement, and each end of the wire wrapped around the victims' necks. Lisa told the police that she had left the basement for a few minutes to put away some laundry and play with her dog. When she returned shortly after, she said she found the kids in that condition. It was then that the police made a discovery. The kids were actually still alive. While they were in full cardiac arrest, the EMTs were able to resuscitate them. Both of the kids were airlifted to Lee Valley Hospital, Cedar Crest. Once they arrived at the hospital, they were both admitted into intensive care and immediately put on full life support.
I'm not trying to get my hopes too up right now, because they could still die from internal damage. Because like when you hang yourself, any kind of restriction of oxygen to your brain can cause serious brain damage, permanent brain damage, that then causes you to die shortly after. So even though they're still alive right now after hanging, I don't want to get my hopes too high up, you know? They're still in danger. They still have to recover.
As the police began to look into the case, they found the circumstances of the scene to be very suspicious, to say the least. They didn't believe that a couple of kids would be able to plan and execute something like this, let alone in such a short amount of time. Given their ages, it was almost unthinkable. The Pennsylvania State Police Hamburg Patrol Unit was quickly able to get themselves a search warrant for the house that very day. They took several items right away, one of course being the dog leash. They also grabbed Lisa's cell phone, 2 iPads, and her laptop. One thing that they couldn't find was a Samsung Galaxy Note, which is what Lisa used to order the leash. Lisa explained to them that, conveniently, she had lost it that day. The detectives took Lisa down to the station in order to interview her.
Of
she
course
told
she
them
did.
what she had told a few people previously, that Connor told her he was being bullied and that he didn't want to live anymore. She said that he had been being bullied for a while, both due to his weight and due to his physical issues.
Literally trying to blame everything on an 8-year-old child. Your 8-year-old child.
Been being bullied for a while, both due to his weight and due to his physical issues. She said that he hated going to school and that's why he was always angry, trying to convince the cops that he would be capable of taking this out on his sister. She told them, "We had a little sit down last week, and I told him, honey, if you ever feel like hurting yourself, please come to me. He did say to me when we were talking, I would have killed myself already, but I'm scared to go by myself."
How convenient. She is trying so hard to make it look like not only was it the 8-year-old that wanted to commit suicide, but that the 8-year-old was capable of even thinking about murdering his own siblings. There's just no way. Like, fucking fantasy ass story.
"I would have killed myself already, but I'm scared to go by myself."
I would have killed myself already, but I'm scared to go by myself. AKA, she's implying that he would only kill himself if he would take someone with him.
She continued, telling the police that Connor had come home that day but couldn't get on his laptop because he had lost the charger. She said that he then decided to go downstairs and build a fort, saying, he loves building forts, that's his thing. She said that he then asked for permission to take 2 kitchen chairs downstairs for his fort, adding that she gave him permission as long as he took them back upstairs afterward. The detectives asked her if she had let him bring anything else downstairs. She said, "Yes, he asked if he could use the dog lead I had on the table I just bought today." Trying to paint it as if Connor had meticulously planned this all out, she added that he would bring each item downstairs, place it carefully, and get another drink from the kitchen. She said that she then folded her laundry and took the dog outside while she smoked a cigarette. She said that all of this took about 10 minutes. Then, she said, she went back inside and walked downstairs to ask the kids if they wanted frozen pizza or Chef Boyardee for dinner.
Somebody in chat pointed it out. Yeah, a kid is not that smart. Like, not even in an insulting manner, but like what she's describing is way too fantastical of an action for children to do. So you're telling me that an 8-year-old is the one that took the leash, went downstairs into the basement, meticulously and like perfectly tied it around the pole in just the right way. He knows how to tie a noose that can support support the weight of a heavy child like himself. And then he was able to somehow trick the little girl into going downstairs. And then he was able to pick up the girl and put her all the way up there and hang her? Bro, come on now.
She said that this was when she happened upon the grisly scene. She added that she tried to lift her daughter, who only weighed about 40 pounds but just couldn't do it. She then moved on to Connor, who she had even less success attempting to lift. She said that whenever her anxiety spikes, she starts to sweat profusely, and this prevented her from undoing the latch on the leash. Unable to do anything, she went upstairs and called 911. The detectives didn't really believe her at all. To get some extra opinions, they called in a few other people to interview as well the next day. They called in Megan, Lisa's friend, as well as her oldest son Owen, and a few people from school. All of them agreed that Connor had never expressed such dark thoughts with them. Another fact they all agreed on was that both of the kids were terrified of the basement and had always refused to go down there. One of the witnesses they brought in was an occupational therapist who had worked with Connor's school district. She said that she had worked with Connor for about a year before this happened. She described all of Connor's physical problems to the police, saying that it would have been very difficult for him, if not impossible, to pull off a plan like this. She was shown a picture of the dog leash that was used in the attack and explained how it had been latched. The therapist said that she believed it would have been extremely difficult for Connor to pull that off, saying that it took him at least twice as long to do anything with his hands than it would take the average kid his age.
Oh, you're right. Dude, wait, that is such an important detail that I forgot. Remember, he is challenged. I think he has like motor skills challenge. Like he's not really good at like overall hand coordination and doing intricate things. So like there's definitely no way it could have been him. And then also just look how sweet he looks, bro. Look how innocent. Look how, come on, dude. Like you really think this kid would hurt anything?
She was asked more specifically about how Connor had handled things like strings or rope. She said that Connor could never tie anything like that correctly, adding that one side of the rope would always be longer than the other and that he couldn't quite find the middle. Seeing that the leash had been tied around the beam perfectly in the middle, she said that he couldn't have done that. The oldest son, Owen, was being interviewed as well. He said that he did live at the home at the time, but he wasn't there when this all happened. He did say that it would have been very unusual for the other two kids to be playing in the basement, given how much they hated it. He could only remember one time that they had ever gone down there in the past to play. He said that Connor did love building forts out of chairs and cushions, but he had only ever done so in the living room. He was then asked if he knew whether or not Connor had ever been bullied. He said that, if he had never once mentioned it before. Lisa began to text Megan, acting as the grieving mother. She told her, "Update, it's not looking good right now. Their brains are swollen, but once the swelling goes down, they are going to do a brain scan to check for brain activity. They said hopefully tomorrow or Thursday they can do that. The doctor herself told us to prepare for the worst. And for a doctor to say that, you know it's pretty bad. And at that point, I'm going to have to make the toughest decision of my entire life."
Wait, is that going to be how they die? Look, their brains are swollen. See, it's exactly what I said. And it's looking like that's going to happen. It's looking like this is how they're going to die. Because like I said, even though they survived the initial hangings, the brain damage that is done by that, by withholding that much oxygen for that amount of time from the brain, it causes irreversible damage. So as you can see, they're swelling. The brain is swelling. And guess what? The choice is up to the mom. And what do you think the mom is going to decide to do? Cut the cord.
Megan expressed her condolences, to which Lisa responded with, "Can't cry anymore. I'm completely numb. My life has been ripped to shreds and it's never going to get better. But I also gotta stay strong for blank, likely Owen, and miracles happen every day, you'd never know. But I'm also not stupid and I'm not going to get my hopes up." Lisa knew that she would be in for some trouble if the kids were to wake up and tell the police what had actually happened. It's very likely that Lisa was actually praying for the opposite, for the kids to succumb to their injuries. On the 26th, she was texting Megan once again. This time, she came with even worse news. The worst had come to pass. She said, "Update, they are not going to make it. The doctors will be pulling the plug tomorrow or Friday. They need to run a few more tests simply for the investigation. After that, my babies will be going to heaven to live with Jesus."
They will, but not you. Not your bitch ass. Something else I want to add. How much do you want to bet while Lisa is writing this text message and sending it to her friend, she's happy. She's not crying. She's not sad. She is ecstatic. She's so happy writing this message. Like, yes, like they're going to die. They're not going to expose my secret. Yeah.
As Lisa said, the kids weren't going to wake up. Both of the kids in the hospital were found to be beyond help. They would never be able to live without life support again. With that, it was decided to take them off of life support and let them pass. On September 26th, they both passed away. A few days later, after an autopsy had been performed, it was concluded that their cause of death had been hanging, and it was listed that it was likely a homicide. Lisa continued to proclaim that she was innocent, both to the police and on social media. She even started up a Facebook page in memorial of her kids.
This goblin bitch was celebrating their deaths in her head. She looks easy as fuck to draw. There's no detail in her face. I know this is a low resolution video, but still, she got no eyebrows. She got no definition at all in her face.
She even started up a Facebook page in memorial of her kids, where she shared their photos as well as stories of their lives. On this page, she wrote, "Every day it gets harder. I miss you both so much. I just want to hold you and kiss you. All I do is cry. I love you both with all my heart. I just want you back." The page quickly grew to about 1,500 members and showed a few dozen photos of the kids. With most of the general public none the wiser as to what had happened, it appeared that the comments on the page were unanimously in support of Lisa, offering only condolences and support. However, this was only an illusion. Behind the scenes, Lisa was actually monitoring the page constantly, deleting any comments that expressed doubts that Connor had done this or that she might have been involved. She wanted to curate the perfect page that showed nothing but legions of support for her as the perfect mother. She started manually approving members of the page and forcing them to go through a checklist of rules before posting. Around this time, Lisa came to ask Megan for a small favor. She asked if she could take her dog. However, she also wanted to be paid for the dog at the same time, which she called a rehoming fee, and added that she would include his toys, cage, and food, almost as if making a sales pitch. She said, "I'm never home, and it's not fair for him to be in his cage all the time. He's free if you are."
Okay, so the dog's gonna be saved. The dog is being saved.
As much as Lisa tried to control the narrative about herself online, she couldn't really do much to quell people's doubts. There wasn't any amount of artificial positivity out there that could convince the public, even some of Lisa's own family, that Connor had done this. Not only had he never seemed anything but happy, he couldn't have physically done this even if he wanted to. Outraged at her friends and family not believing her, Lisa began to ramble in text messages about how she was feeling. She said that she was heartbroken that the police even wanted to investigate her, and added that her friends and family had been spreading what she called straight-out lies and that they had tarnished her good name.
You tarnished your own name the second you fucked your dog, bitch. Sorry. Whoa, where did that come from? Whoa. Sorry, that just kind of came out of me.
She wrote, "They will see I'm innocent once everything is said and done. I can't even imagine how they would think I would ever hurt my sweet children. Truth will come out when the investigation is over and my ass is not in jail." Lisa, however, wouldn't be correct on that one. The police came out to arrest her on December 2nd, about 2.5 months after the kids passed away.
God damn! Wow, that is a linebacker right there. God damn, that is a big bitch.
The police came out to arrest her on December 2nd, about 2.5 months after the kids passed away. She was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 of endangering the welfare of children, and 2 counts of third-degree murder. The police had heard about her romps with the dog as well. For that, she was also hit with charges of sexual intercourse with an animal and cruelty to animals.
Oh, okay, so they discovered that she also did those disgusting things to the dog. Yes, you need to add everything onto the charge list so that she gets the maximum amount of time she can in prison.
Finally, she secured one more charge of tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, likely for ditching the Samsung Galaxy Note before the police could find it. The police did try to locate Lisa's dog to make sure he was okay, but they came to find that he didn't live with them anymore. They were able to confirm that he had been given to a family in West Virginia, where at least he was living in a stable home with a family that cared for him. Given the charges of first-degree murder, Lisa wasn't eligible for bail. With that, she was all set to rot in jail while she awaited her fate. It would be that same month when Lisa's trial would begin. With all of the charges against her, she was looking at quite the sentence, possibly even death. The prosecutors stated their view that Lisa had murdered the 2 kids herself and staged the scene to look like a murder-suicide. Lisa adamantly denied the allegations. They also stated, for all watching, that she had had relations with the family dog and that there were plenty of pictures to back it up. Even with the photos, Lisa denied that as well.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I forgot. I mean, she sent pictures over the internet. Once you send a message on any platform, that message is there in their database, so they can recover all of that. Imagine the reactions in the courtroom to those pictures, like of her doing things to the dog.
Lisa was given a public defender who began to work on an insanity defense. Even to him, it was obvious that Lisa had committed the murder, leaving him with very few other options. The defense filed a motion with several requests. One, he wanted a change of venue for the trial, saying that all the local media coverage would affect the outcome. Two, he wanted a separate trial entirely for the dog-loving charges, saying that something like that would definitely, in his words, inflame the passions of and unfairly prejudice the jury. Lisa continued to proclaim that she didn't kill her kids while also pushing for the insanity defense. Both statements contradicted each other, as she both claimed to have not killed the kids but also to have killed them while insane. Nevertheless, she proceeded in that fashion, pleading not guilty and only telling the court, "There were so many things I could have done different." Several people were called in to testify.
I think the court is not going to buy this. Usually the court has a tough time battling the case of insanity because, I mean, whether we like to admit it or not, I mean, a lot of these people do a better job than this woman of selling that they're insane, you know? Even though we can see that it's obviously an act, this woman is making it so obvious. Too obvious.
Several people were called in to testify throughout the preliminary hearing. Some of them were EMTs who were on the scene that day, some were nurses at the hospital, and then others were Lisa's friends and family. One friend, named Jessica, said that Lisa had texted her while the investigation was ongoing. She said that Lisa had told her that the police had been to her home multiple times looking for a lost cell phone. She said that she was worried about some internet searches she had made on Connor's account, where she admitted that she had Googled how to kill someone without explaining why. She also had said that she was debating on checking herself into a psych ward, likely realizing even a few months prior that an insanity plea may be her only defense after all.
That should destroy her case right there for insanity. The fact that she was trying to get checked in prior to the hearing, prior to the court hearing, that shows like premeditation and planning to try and manufacture an insanity plea. She wanted any kind of documentation that she could use to prove that she was insane, yeah.
She also said that if she was arrested, she would make bail and then end her own life. Luckily, she wasn't offered bail. Jessica finished by saying that she no longer considered Lisa to be a friend.
I don't think Lisa was really ever her friend. I think she was just there kind of listening to her rat on herself.
Several other witnesses were brought to the stand to testify about Connor's personality. They all agreed that Connor had not been bullied, had a lot of friends, and liked going to school. The trial would prove to be a long one. It didn't wrap up that year, or even the next, or even the year after that. Lisa was appearing back in court in March of 2022, almost 4 years after the murders took place. In that appearance, her lawyers urged for some more evidence to be excluded from the trial. They didn't want the recordings of her statements with the police to be admitted, saying that they were made before she had been read her rights. This is likely because Lisa was clearly coherent in these recordings, lying and making up a well-thought-out story about what had happened. They also wanted to exclude as many of her Google searches as possible as well, saying that some were lewd and would unfairly skew public perception of her character. This argument would only cause the trial to drag on that much longer, all the while Lisa was sitting in jail. Fast forward to November of 2023, over a year later. Lisa and her defense drafted up a plea agreement to present to the judge. Lisa wanted to plead no contest, not admitting guilt while also not entering the plea of not guilty, but instead to use an insanity plea on 2 counts of third-degree murder. The judge quickly shot this proposal down, saying that it wasn't in the best interests of real justice. Lisa's lawyer once again pressed, saying that she had a chronic history of severe mental disorders, saying that she had severe depression, borderline personality disorder, dissociative disorder, and many other illnesses at the time of the crimes.
The only illness that she had was being a dumb bitch. That was literally the only thing she was ever ill of.
And many other illnesses at the time of the crime. Still though, they weren't successful. This hearing actually only lasted a few minutes. With that, Lisa was all set to move forward with a full-on trial, free of any pleas or insanity defense. The district attorney said, "We don't contest the fact that she's mentally ill, and she meets the threshold set up under the law that she is mentally ill," but also said that they would proceed normally regardless. Lisa's defense didn't have any comment one way or the other. The prosecutors announced that they would indeed be seeking the death penalty. Then came September of 2024. It was now about 5 years since the murders had taken place. Lisa's trial was still continuing. It was now that her oldest son, Owen, now 22 years old, would finally come to testify against her. As Lisa sobbed from her seat, he said, I just don't see her as my mother anymore.
Damn, so this is now the oldest son, the 22-year-old Owen. Dude, prayers for Owen. Owen lost his two younger siblings, sorry. And this is incredibly strong for him to come out and to testify against his own mom, to look her in the face still after all of that trauma.
Owen fully denied the claims that Connor had been depressed or that he had killed their younger sister. He said, "He was a happy-go-lucky kid. He always wanted to be doing something. He was always playing with his little sister." Lisa's defense, now entirely out of options, aimed to have the case thrown out altogether. They were seeking a full acquittal, stating that the whole case was built on nothing more than speculation and guesswork. Lisa opted to have the judge, Teresa Johnson, hear the case alone instead of a jury. All of the evidence was then presented to the judge. The text, the 911 call, the interviews, and the witness testimony. Even the kitchen chairs used in the attack were brought in to show the judge. Lisa remained emotionless throughout all of this, aside from when Owen spoke against her.
Does she have facial hair in the drawing? Do you think she actually had this much hair on her in real life? This bitch has more facial hair than me. She has fur. What's it called? What are those things that live under the bridge? Troll. She's a troll. Hell no. She got more fur than the dog she fucked.
Her defense continued to urge the judge throughout that Lisa didn't kill her kids, and even if she did, she was clinically insane and deserved to be in a psychiatric hospital instead of prison. Lisa's plan didn't work, as it only took the judge about 1 hour to think it all over and come to a guilty verdict. Given that nobody had faced execution in Pennsylvania since 1999, the death sentence was looking less and less likely over time. However, given her charges, she was still looking at a sentence of life at the minimum. Sentencing was then scheduled for October 17th, 2024. The day finally came. After all of those years, Lisa was finally about to learn her fate. Sitting in front of the judge, her sentence was handed down to her. She was sentenced to 2 life terms in prison without the possibility of parole. She was also sentenced to another 8.5 to 17 years for the other charges against her. The judge called the crime the most violent murder case she had ever presided over, saying that Lisa had never once shown a hint of remorse. Owen looked at his mother before the sentencing. He said that she was a monster, lamenting the thought that his 2 younger siblings would never get to be an aunt and uncle to his newborn son, and that he would never get to see the kind of people that they would have become.
Oh, so Owen had his own children, but he's sad because his 2 now dead siblings are never gonna be uncle and aunts to his children.
His own mom had robbed them of that. Lisa was then carted off to prison, where she will remain for the rest of her life. She had failed in all of her plans. The murder, the cover-up, the social media crusade, her insanity defense, her acquittal, and in her hopes that the judge might look upon her more favorably than a jury. She may die in prison, but what she did will never be undone.
Exactly what I always say, man. I think that's the end of the video.
Once again, thank you for watching my video. I know this one was probably a bit tough to get through.
Yeah, just a little bit. No, yeah, but I'm gonna echo what Dire Trip said there at the end. I always say this too. Sure, we can get justice. We can get all the justice that we deserve, right? But unfortunately, nothing will ever... Unfortunately, there's just no way to bring back or undo the damage that these monsters do. We can't bring those 2 sweet children back to life. We can't unabuse the dog. The damage is done. The trauma is done. The mental scar is there forever. So yeah, I mean, we can celebrate that they got justice and that she's rotting away in prison for basically the rest of her life. But yeah, no, in the end, Owen is still living with that trauma. So rest in peace once again to, what were the names again? It was Connor and Brinley. Rest in peace to them. Those are the 2 children that died. And I sincerely hope that the dog found a new loving home that's owners that obviously were not abusing him in the same way that Lisa did. Absolutely just disgusting. I can't get over that. How are you gonna do that to a dog? Oh my god. Once again, man, just look at her. Look at her dark ass, black void ass eyes. There's no life behind them. Dude, for real. Wait, she has like those creepy... Yeah, look. It's like those creepy ass eyes in that shark had in Nemo. She literally has those like dead, soulless eyes. Yeah, you could see she was evil from the beginning. So once again, I mean, yeah, that's a video right there, guys. Sorry that was a really tough one to watch. So thank you so much for watching, and also I apologize. Thank you so much for watching, YouTube, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.